They got attracted, they got married, they spent some time together, but they're not meant to be together. What are these signs of separation or complete divorce?
Whenever the seventh lord or the lord of seventh house gets afflicted by Saturn and Mars.
What are the signs of a very happy marriage? Which planets are involved? Which houses are involved?
The one and only one single planet which ensures that your married life will be good. It will be happy, it will be nice, it will have that, the good breeze which is there. Venus is all about that nice breeze you say with marriage, that wow thing comes only if Venus is good. If you look at the horoscopes of world, nations, they say the seventh house is the house of your enemy. Seventh house is the house of war. Seventh house is the house of opposition. But in an individual horoscope, when you see it, then the seventh house is the other person, which is neither war, neither it is about enemy, neither it is about borders.
It's about your partner.
It is all about your partner, but all these things come in your partner. I mean, it's that spiritual aspect that,
exactly.
You have to travel.
And what an irony that, you get somebody as your partner who will be somewhere your enemy. He will trigger some parts of you. What are the signs that you will get married to the person you like?
Love getting solemnized to marriage will have to have relationship with either Jupiter or with Ketu also.
Ketu, you both got married, you had initial attraction, and after a few years that person got bored with you or they started liking somebody else.
People come to me, ladies come to me and they say, okay, we know that our husband is having a relationship.
They're aware of the affair.
Affair, yeah. They know, they are aware of it, okay? And what they come to ask me is that I hope he doesn't leave me.
But they're okay with
what's happening. Now, when you look at these horoscopes, you'll see that you have Venus and Rahu together in the horoscope of the girl.
Hello everybody, a very warm welcome on the show, and I'm your host Rangoli Sharma. If you're about to get married, do watch this podcast. And if you are married, do watch this podcast. Marriage is one of the most beautiful and one of the most significant event of your life, I believe. And so many people believe in astrology because they want to know what kind of marriage will I have, what kind of partner will I have. So in this podcast, I've brought everything to you. It's a complete podcast on, or at least we've tried to make it a very well-rounded podcast on marriage. Like, will you have a happy marriage, or your chart, your astro chart shows a problematic marriage? We see so many people sustaining a marriage. They got into a love marriage, but now their partner has become the biggest enemy. And that's the irony of life. You get to spend a big amount of your life with somebody who might be very karmic to you, who might challenge you, who might trigger you in so many areas of your life. And that's the beauty of marriage. First house represents you and seventh house represents your partner, complete opposites. And that's what happened in life. So let's see what has your destiny, what has your chart written for you. Are you getting a good partner on the basis of your previous life's good karma, or are you getting a problematic partner? Do you have a soulmate, or do you have a karmic partner who has come to teach you some lessons and evolve you on your journey? So we've covered different segments into today's podcast, like will you have a happy marriage or a problematic marriage, signs of a cheating partner, signs of a disloyal partner, signs of complete separation or divorce, or signs of a second marriage. So before starting the podcast, do let me know from which part of the world you're watching this discussion, and also do let me know, are you married or are you about to get married, or you don't want to get married at all. So for this wonderful discussion, I have a renowned astrologer and one of my most favorites, a very well-researched one as well. Whenever we discuss astrology, it's always very deep discussion. Let's welcome Dr. Shanker Adawal ji on Speaking Tree. Sir, a very warm welcome on the show.
Hello.
It's such a pleasure to be with you today, and I'm super happy that we've chosen such an important topic for our audience today, love and marriage. They say that your partner is somebody who you carry from your previous lives, just like your parents, your siblings. So your partner is a part of your destiny, and that is quite visible in your astrology chart as well. You are your first house, your partner is your seventh house. So today I would like to understand from you the whole concept of marriage. Like, what are the signs of a happy marriage? What are the signs of a problematic marriage? What are the signs of divorce or separation? What are the signs that you will be getting into a second marriage? So let's start from a very happy note itself. What are the signs of a very happy marriage? Which planets are involved? Which houses are involved?
See, the main planet for marriage is Venus. I mean, everybody knows it, and that is the enigma of Venus. Venus is the planet for marriage, and there is a lot of mythology behind it, and a lot of spiritual stories behind it, which I will not go into it. But Venus is the main planet for marriage. And the two houses of Venus, that is the Taurus and Libra, they become very important for marriage. So if in these two houses, I mean, like if Venus is placed in its own house, Libra, it's very good. If Venus is placed in Taurus, without any affliction alone, Venus does very well in relationships.
Okay.
Now, when you're talking about marriage, let's understand one thing. Marriage is a concept made by human beings.
Absolutely.
Like we have made that concept of marriage, that we get married and we stay for a particular period of time. And, over a period of time, the concept of marriage, the concept of relationship, the concept of everything around it has changed. So we need to understand it that way. And when you talk about marriage, it is in life, you meet a lot of people. I mean, even if we are meeting, we're destined to meet.
Absolutely.
Everybody is destined to meet somebody. And that is casual meetings, that is governed by moon and so many other planets. We can see it, like you're going to meet somebody. So the happy marriage part of it is a Venus if it is well placed.
Okay.
And if it is aspected by Jupiter, because Jupiter is a planet of divine grace, it is planet of the divinity. So if it is aspected by Jupiter and Venus is well placed, the one and only one single planet which ensures that your married life will be good. It will be happy, it will be nice, it will have that, the good breeze which is there.
Okay.
Venus is all about that nice breeze you say with marriage. That wow thing comes only if Venus is good. Okay. So first is the Venus and the two houses of Venus. So one should always see that good planets are placed in the houses of Venus, that is Taurus and Libra, irrespective of 7th house, etc., which I'll come later into it. Okay. So this is very important. So Venus is the first, and if it is aspected by Jupiter, be sure it will be.
It's a divine grace.
It's a divine grace. The marriage and the married life of that person will be good. Again, you can put it in writing.
So this is rule number 1. Write it down that you have to look at your Venus, and if it's aspected by Jupiter, Jupiter will definitely save your marriage.
Make it better.
Okay.
Make it better, make it happier, make it, make it more spiritual, make it, because, and then let's come to the 7th house. In the whole constellation, we have 7th house, which governs marriage, right? And this 7th house becomes very important because the first house is you, and the 7th house is the person opposite to you. That is why it's the marriage house. And the 7th house is for marriage because the first house is you. That is, suppose I'm the person, then it is like Shiva. And the 7th house is Shakti. It's the milan of Shiva and Shakti, which is, which gives you perfection in life. Everything comes in life because of that. And that is why marriage is not constant. I mean, marriage, relationship, it's always in a flux. That is why two opposite houses are given. If you look at the horoscopes of world, nations, they say the 7th house is the house of your enemy. 7th house is the house of war. 7th house is the house of opposition. But in an individual horoscope, when you see it, then the 7th house is the other person, which is neither war, neither it is about enemy, neither it is about borders.
It's about your partner.
It is all about your partner. But all these things come in your partner. I mean,
And
it's
so
like, it's that spiritual aspect that,
Exactly.
You have to travel.
And what
One
an
person-
irony that, you get somebody as your partner who will be somewhere your enemy. He will trigger some parts of you.
Yes, some trigger. So that's a part of life which is seen. So we cannot say that marriage can be you have to define your marriage as they say, it's your dharma. Marriage is a dharma. It's swadharma. You define what your marriage, each man, each woman defines the marriage, what it should be. But let's talk about the present context of things. I mean, marriage, I would say, is a good marriage if people can stay together properly, they are happy in the marriage, they understand each other. That is what a good marriage is. So a seventh house, if it is aspected by the Lord of seventh house is aspected by its own, Lord, then it becomes very good.
Okay.
Now, that is which is what is important. And of course, again, the aspect of Jupiter on 7th house, let it be from 3rd, let it be from 11th. Jupiter should not be in 7th, let it be from any other place, aspecting.
Okay, aspecting.
Like it is from the first house, there's number 1, number 3, and number 11. These 3 houses, it will aspect the 7th house. That is also very good. And if suppose you have, horoscope which is of, everybody takes Mesh Lagna. Suppose in your horoscope, the first house is 4, number 4, Cancer. Right? Now, Cancer will have the opposite house, which is of Saturn. Now, if Saturn is, assuming it is even in the 5th house, and it is looking at your 7th house, it protects its own house. And you have Jupiter, which is, let's assuming it is in the 3rd, that is in the house of Virgo. It's not a very, but it aspects the 7th house. The marriage will be very good. The marriage will be stable. But of course, now what is the concept of marriage, that is defined from different. But what I would say, marriage is good is in terms of it will stay, it will be happy, it will be understanding, both will look after each other, both will have children, etc., etc. Then it becomes a good marriage. That is what I understand marriage is in the present context of things.
Okay. So now let's move on to the second part, which we were discussing about earlier. Nowadays, we see so many people getting into marriage after they've chosen somebody. They've spent good amount of time knowing the other person, which we usually call love marriages. So what are the signs that you will get married to the person you like?
See, the planet, again here, let's understand, Venus is the planet for marriage. It is the most important planet. And it is the planet for, falling in love with somebody. Now, falling in love and then getting married, right? So Venus, whenever it is even with planets like Mars, it is not with malefic planets. It's not with Saturn, it's not with Rahu, it is not with Ketu, it is not with even Mercury, even not with, but it is with good planets like, Sun is there, even Moon is there, and Jupiter is there. And then it is at some point of time, at some place, the planet of love, relationship, etc., is the 5th house, and it has a good aspect with the 5th house. Then that love would solemnize into marriage. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
When I say, when you say that love becomes a good marriage,
converted into marriage.
Now, marriage is basically like a blessings of your elders. Okay, marriage is something when you go to a temple and get married.
Yes.
Marriage is you take fire as your as the element and say that you're getting fire. Or you go to a church to get married, or you go to some other place to get married.
Exactly.
So, marriage will be defined by Venus. But love getting solemnized to marriage will have to have relationship with either Jupiter or with Ketu also.
Ketu.
Because understand one thing, this is one important sutra which is there. Ketu is actually thread. Ketu is Mangal Sutra.
Okay.
Anything somebody gives you a ring, somebody gives a bracelet, somebody in Indian tradition you do Mangal Sutra, and Mangal Sutra is defined by Ketu. So whenever Jupiter and Ketu, whenever they get in touch with Venus in the chart, or Venus Mars together, which signifies love, it's a whole topic that what is love, and then that particular love at that particular point of time will get solemnized into marriage.
Okay. So the role of Ketu is also very
important.
And they call Ketu a very separative planet.
No, Ketu, as far as in this, it's like Jupiter. When it comes to solemnizing a marriage, Suppose you're liking a guy, a boy or a girl, either way.
Yes.
I mean, depends on what it is. And then you say whether it will get into marriage. Then the relationship of Ketu becomes very, very critical in terms of that getting into solemnize into a marriage.
So like in the dasha or antar dasha of Ketu, it will get solemnized into marriage?
Or Ketu is aspecting, or Ketu is with Jupiter, then the relationship will get solemnized into a marriage. Now, how you get into a relationship will depend where Venus is and what is its relationship with Mars and other planets.
Okay.
So let me tell you briefly, I mean, in terms of, let's say, suppose your Venus is with Rahu, right? Whenever Venus is with Rahu, then the relationships, then you'll get into a relationship which is with a person who's very rich, a person who's got a lot of money, a person who's got a lot of insignia of aristocracy, who's got everything today. His name is there, like flushed with whatever. That there is a facade behind the person, maybe right, maybe wrong, but he will have a facade.
He'll be visible.
He will be visible enough to have it. So that is with Venus with Rahu. But Rahu, whenever Venus is with Rahu, then that love, that relationship may get it solemnized to marriage, because during the period of transit or your dasha or your bhukti, it may get connected to Jupiter, it may get solemnized to marriage. But whether it stays or doesn't stay, that's a different thing, because Rahu is a planet which likes to move fast. It's not satisfied with one person. Now, suppose Venus is with a moon, then the relationship will be very emotional. It will be emotions, it will be about, listening to poetry, going outside, etc., etc. With Venus and Sun, again, I've seen in most of the cases, the relationship happens. People do get attracted. Remember one thing, when I've seen love in a lot of horoscopes, then it is two opposite peoples will get attracted.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to marriage, it may not get, it may not be the marriage. It doesn't. So this thing is to understand. I've seen a lot of horoscopes of Venus and Sun. They fall in love, madly in love, because the Venus likes the Sun. The glory of the sun, the way the sun moves, the way it sits, the way it talks, the pride, the ego. So Venus and Sun I've seen in aspect, even in 5th and 9th, they get. So make Venus as your main planet, especially even Mars. Venus-Mars love is, very profound, very intense, very aggressive. Venus-Mars in good positions, like, it is in Aries, it is in Leo, it is in Sagittarius, any kind of, we'll discuss, I'll just explain you that also. So then it is very aggressive in nature, very, kind of thing, abhi karna hai,
I want you
we want you, etc., would happen. Venus with Mercury is a combination which I would not like to discuss, because Mercury has different kind of a role, so that's a different topic altogether. That is not there. Venus with Ketu, again, people have this thought process that this is a denial of marriage. But Venus Ketu doesn't deny marriage. Venus Ketu only makes the marriage which is internal. That is, two people are sitting, but they need not, then the relationship is that they need not talk. The person, suppose I'm in love with somebody, and I just want to sit with that person and see. And inside I'm feeling good. I'm not expressing it. The Rahu person would say, I love you, I like you, like cuddle with you. The Ketu person with Venus would say, internally he'll, admire you. He may not say anything of that sort. So that is how Venus, does its whole thing in terms of, love. It gets solemnized only when it gets connected with Jupiter or again with Ketu. That is marriage. Now, after marriage, what we have to see is the success of a marriage. The success of a marriage is something very different. You have to see it in a very different way.
Sir, I would also like to talk about the role of 5th house, because they say 5th house is your house of romance. So is there any connection between 5th house or 7th house that also suggests that your love will get converted into a marriage?
Yes, absolutely. 5th house is the house of romance, it's the house of love, it's the house of attraction, it's the house of creativity between two people. So a lot of things are governed by the 5th house. And why? Because 5th house is 11th from 7th. The aspiration of 7th is fulfilled by the 5th house. So when 7th and 5th house get connected in any way, by conjunction, by aspect, or a lot of seventh is in fifth, or a lot of fifth is in seventh, or they're together, then most probably the marriage will happen because of very deep attraction
Okay.
towards each other.
Sir, now let's talk about the negative side of the union. What are the signs of a problematic marriage? And by that, I mean a lot of things. So let's move stepwise. Number one, you might not have a loyal partner, that you both got married, you had initial attraction, and after a few years, that person got bored with you or they started liking somebody else, but you're still sustaining that marriage. It is a very harsh truth, but we all see this is happening very commonly. So how to decode that?
Like I explained to you the role of Rahu. Rahu and Ketu are two karmic planets, and they are very important in analyzing marriage. They tell you your entire, the story of marriage, the story of relationship is told by the dispositors of Rahu and Ketu. If you have the Lord of Rahu and the Lord of Ketu, wherever your Rahu is placed in any house, suppose your Rahu is placed in number 7, then Libra, then the Lord of that will become Venus, and Ketu is placed in number 1, it becomes Mars. Then this relationship between Venus and Mars will tell you all about your marriage. If it is placed 6-8, these two, Venus and Mars, are placed 6-8 or 2-12 to each other, be sure that you are going to have a lot of trouble in your married life and relationships. Right? So this is a very thumb rule which everybody can apply. Just see where your Rahu is placed, where your Ketu is placed. See the lords of those two houses, and then see the lords with the planets, whether they are in 6-8 or 2-12 to each other. If they are 6-8 and 2-12, you are going to have a lot of hardships. You have come out with this karmic debt that you are going to face hardships in relationships. Now, when you talk about relationships today, and I see a lot of horoscopes which are there, tons of horoscopes I see, where I know the lady, a lot of people come to me, ladies come to me and they say, okay, we know that our husband is having a relationship.
They're aware of the affair.
Affair, yeah. They know, they are aware of it, okay? And and what they come to ask me is that I hope he doesn't leave me.
But they're okay with the
they're okay with
happening.
What's happening. Now, when you look at these horoscopes, you'll see that you have Venus and Rahu together in the horoscope of the girl, of the lady. Okay. Now, Venus and Rahu tells that, okay, the primary thing, the thing she wants is, the person wants, it's not or anybody with this combination, the primary thing he would want or she would want is the luxuries of life, the car, the bank balance, the credit cards, all those things are there, right? So that is what is wanted. Now, if this Venus and Rahu is there in anybody's horoscope, like I'll talk about other combinations also, and it is aspected by Jupiter, right? What happens is, everything is happening, but it gets covered. Jupiter doesn't do anything that it saves your marriage, doesn't save your marriage.
But it
Jupiter
saves you.
creates a facade where the society doesn't know about it.
Okay, so your affair won't be revealed to public.
Your affair will not be revealed, your thoughts will not be revealed, your intentions will not be revealed, you're having, a lot of things are, happening that doesn't get revealed. So Jupiter is a very important planet which also propagates marriage, but also helps in these cases when you have negative combination. Similarly, people who have Venus and Mars, like very close conjunction, in areas like, suppose it is in Scorpio, in Pisces, in watery signs, especially in watery signs, that is Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces, you have Venus and Mars together and they're respected by Jupiter again. It will not happen. Then these things will not happen. Now, also, the power to say no is Mars.
That I won't tolerate this.
I will not tolerate this. Right? So Mars, if it is strong in a lady's horoscope, then that particular lady or the man would
take a stand.
But if the Mars is not very strong, then you see a lot of marriages which keep on happening
Okay.
because of the power to say not to get up, because you have a weak Mars.
Yes.
Your energy is low. You cannot react.
Right.
So you will have a lot of the, jo aajkal, which is happening, that a lot of ladies are suffering after marriage. It is the power to say no. And that is the same reason why they also fell in love with somebody. They said yes to somebody. Because there was a strong person. Suppose you have a lady has a weak Mars, and a man has a strong Mars, a strong Sun, or has a Mars with Rahu, right? Then he will get after. I mean, if you're destined, if the horoscopes are like that, then it happens that the same lady who is suffering now, even at that time, somebody got the person with a strong Mars got after the lady with a weak Mars, debilitated Mars, and she said, yes, okay, I'll marry you. And then she suffers in the marriage also.
And even then she cannot say no, because she has a weak Mars. Comparatively.
So Mars is very important. In a lady's horoscope, at least, one should see Mars as a very important. And if it is weak, it is an astrologer can counsel, bhai, tum thoda dhyan rakho apne aap ko. And suppose this weak Mars, a debilitated Mars, gets conjunct with Rahu. Then you are debilitated on one side, you don't have the power to say no, but you want all the luxuries
of life that you
then it becomes it's a topping, icing, it's like icing on the cake.
Right, that whatever
Then
happens. I'll just enjoy the materialistic
material comforts. Then I've seen that, especially irrespective of the house it is, then Mars and Rahu together, aspected by Saturn. I've seen so many horoscopes where, everything is happening. But the lady it's her own inertia which is making her enjoy. That weak Mars is making her not to say anything. On the other hand, she's got the luxuries. Saturn helps Mars, it doesn't help Rahu, doesn't help Mars. And on this, suppose in this chart, you have an exalted Jupiter somewhere. You have an exalted Jupiter, right? Everything looks very hunky-dory. Example of this I've seen, like you have Karmic Lagna, number 4. Jupiter is exalted there.
Yes, in the first house.
Second house, you have Mars and Rahu.
Okay.
Mars is a lot of fifth, of love.
Yes.
The person falls in love, second house. Second house is also about family relationship. If that second house it's there, it's with Rahu. And you have Shani from the 8th house, looking at that. And Jupiter is exalted. This exalted Jupiter only just creates a facade. It creates a philosophy. It creates a family. Jahan sab kuch ho raha hai. Everything is happening in that family, But the family is a very renowned family. People will say, oh, what a family.
Yes.
What a pedigree.
Exactly.
But everything negative is happening in that particular family.
Yeah. But they have to maintain that image for the sake of it.
That is because that is the horoscope should show that. The horoscope, because the exalted Jupiter is that. So you should understand Jupiter in a very right way. I've seen Jupiter in 3rd house, right? And we have other combinations where Venus gets afflicted with Mercury. And Jupiter is in 3rd house and Venus is Mercury. So when Jupiter, let's say, is in the 3rd house, in the house of Mercury, like let's say it's in Virgo or it is in Gemini. Jupiter is in Gemini, it's in the house of Mercury. And you have, any other combination which is there, which like Venus and Mercury are together and Jupiter. Then I've seen ladies getting attracted to people who are very younger to them in age.
Okay, because of Mercury's connection.
Similar, but Venus and Jupiter makes it happen.
Okay.
Similarly, if Jupiter is in 9th house and you have a combination of, Venus with Rahu, Venus with Saturn, Venus with Mercury, and Jupiter is in 9th house, I've seen ladies getting attracted to people who are much elder to them. And the marriage will also stay. So Jupiter has a very important role and a very different connotation, because I've done a lot of work on this. So Jupiter has to be seen in a different way to understand what love is because of Mars and Venus. Okay, and other planets, but they're primarily the main planets, Rahu, Ketu, etc. as I told you. Love becomes into marriage, and then the sustenance of marriage, and then how the marriage will happen is also you have to see Jupiter. Why does a woman like, or a man like somebody younger, somebody very elder, and so on and so forth. So that is how it plays out.
So, sir, now that we understood the role of a third party, currently the times that we are living in, we see so many marriages breaking due to the role of in-laws. Let's say a husband and a wife, they are somehow managing. Even if there are some issues, they are sorting things out. But sometimes you see, especially girls, they cannot handle their in-laws. They think that their in-laws are being very pokey about the marriage. So how to see problematic in-laws or, suffering from their side if it's not from the husband's side?
Whenever Venus gets afflicted by moon, you will have problems with in-laws. The more it gets afflicted, the more will be the problem. The woman, in a woman's chart.
Okay.
I'm not talking about a man's chart. It's whenever Venus will get afflicted by moon, problems with in-laws will happen. Venus and moon together, Venus and moon afflicting each other, then problems.
Sir, because moon is a very benefic planet and so is Venus.
When you consider moon, I'm considering it as a mother-in-law. Whenever Venus afflicts moon, which is in the case of a woman who's entering the house, for that, the mother becomes the mother-in-law. Yes. The whole connotation of moon changes. Then it doesn't become a mother. It is from mother, it changes into a mother-in-law.
Okay.
And then when Venus afflicts moon, there is going to be khitch-pitch. Some problems or the other will happen with your mother-in-law.
And so what's the role of the 8th house? Because it's being said that, 2nd to 7th house is 8th house, which is the family of your husband. So what role does 8th house play in
It's a very good question. That is the, when you talk about 8th house, it is not the mother-in-law or the father. It is the entire family of your husband.
Okay.
It is what you call in Hindi the kutum, the combined family, the joint family of your husband.
Yes.
Now, at points of time, it happens that 8th house is very afflicted. Then the entire family will be such that it will create problems for you, which would include the wife's, the husband's mother, the husband's father, the husband's brother. So exactly pinpointing it to the mother-in-law will not be right. Okay. Issues with mother-in-law, you have to look at Venus, moon. But when the 8th house gets afflicted, then the family of the husband will be a reason of problem.
So like the 8th house represents the whole family.
Whole family that, as we are having a lot of cases these days, even currently, there have been cases, which have been talked about, where the entire family has created problem, right? So then the entire family creates problem. They connive together. That means it's not only the mother, it would be the mother, it could be the spouse's father, it could be everybody together. They, two or greater than two people of the family, whether they're staying together, not staying together, they create issues for you.
Okay.
So that way, 8th house is a very important house to see whether the marriage would actually will have problems due to the spouse's family. It could be either way. If you should not be, saying any, it's man, woman, both the ways it could be there.
Okay. So before moving on to next question for today, one very important house I would like to cover since we are talking about in-laws. The 10th house is 4th from 7th. So in a way, it represents your husband's or your wife's mother. So what role does 10th house play here to, sustain your marriage or protect it?
Let's understand the basic fundamental 10th house. 10th house is also the house of dharma and karma.
Karma, absolutely.
It's the dharma and karma. And it is the 7th house from the 4th house. That's an important aspect of it. And it's also the 4th house from the 7th house. So it's the 4th house of your spouse's mother. If you want to understand the personality of your husband's mother, then you should look at the Lord of 10th house, but not only the Lord of 10th house. The 10th house is also for your karma, it's of your profession. With that, please look at moon. 10th house, you look at it and also look at moon, because 10th house is got everything. You have to have three things. You have to see the house, you have to see the lordship of the house, and you have to see what the house represents, in which we call in Hindi the Kar Tattva of the house. If you understand Karak, Kar Tattva and Bhav,
the significations
the
of
significators.
the house.
If these three things, once you understand in astrology, then it's like very easy to understand. So in that case, you see the 10th house and also see moon and the relationship between the 10th lord and the moon. How they are placed between each other. You will get an idea of the whole thing. Even when you have to understand marriage, see, it's not that the horoscope is static. You have to understand marriage, you have to rotate Venus. Suppose you have Venus in your 7th house, any house, you say Venus. So your marriage, suppose Rahu is after that. So the initial stages of your marriage, you will have that Rahu flavor into it. But after Rahu, assuming Jupiter comes in, then you need to calculate it, and by the method I do it, by the technique I do it, then the Jupiter will also come into it. The marriage will not be, it will not fail. Initially, that Rahu will create that kind of illusion, the delusion, you can't settle, you will not know what to do, you may have a mother-in-law who's, speaking very tough on you, etc., etc. But after Rahu, suppose you have Jupiter, then that divinity will come into you. Now, after Rahu, you have Mercury. Then the relationship will become, different. It will go in a different way. After Mercury, you have to see which planet. If you have Moon, then it will. So you have to see Venus and keep on rotating it. Suppose your Venus is in the first house, then you see. Suppose it is with Mars, then it will have a different connotation. Then you have to see Venus takes the energy of Mars and then moves to the next. So after one house, it comes and meets Jupiter. Then the whole relationship of yours with your husband or with your wife would have that Jupiterian aspect for some time. So then after that, assuming Saturn comes. So then Venus with Mars, with the energy of Jupiter and the signs will come and meet Saturn. So Saturn will put its own energy of structure, order, discipline, going to all those things will happen. So that will give an idea of how your marriage and married life will be, because relationships keep on changing at times.
Absolutely.
So first, कभी मैंने बहुत देखा हु मैरिज है, उसके बाद एकदम से सीरियसनेस आता है और फिर एकदम से वो स्पिरिचुअलिटी पे पहुंच जाते हैं.
Exactly.
So then somewhere Ketu comes in. So with just by not rotating Venus, just by seeing how Venus moves in 12 houses and which are the planet it touches, first, second, तो उसके qualities imbibe करेगा, and at that ages it will activate that part, the way your marriage will be.
Very interesting.
Suppose your Venus is with Mars, then when you get married, then it will be intense, it will be this thing. Again, suppose Jupiter, after that it comes to Jupiter. Now assuming Jupiter, sign bhi dekh lo, uska Rashi mat bhi dekho aap, then there will be a Jupiterian aspect, you will have children, you will have a family, you will have this thing. After some time, it comes to Saturn, then the maturity comes in, structure comes in, order comes in, discipline comes into your life, like that you have to see. And then suppose it meets Ketu after that, and then spirituality comes in. So you have to see those kinds of things will be, that is how your whole span would be in terms of relationship. This I'm not talking it, I'm here not saying that it will be with one person. That's a different aspect. That is how will be your love life and your life or relationship.
Okay.
The way you will lead your
Venus.
Lead your Venus.
Absolutely.
Your Venus will be there. Having a relationship, getting into marriage, getting into an extramarital relationship also. That also we've discussed it. That's how it happens. So those are different aspects of life. Extramarital relationship, getting exposed, not getting exposed. So we've talked about that also.
So now let's talk about the complete signs of divorce or separation, that two people, no matter which good planet is aspecting your 7th house, that two people are not meant to stay. They were a karmic bond, they got attracted, they got married, they spent some time together, but they're not meant to be together. What are these signs of separation or complete divorce? Like, what shows that it was a pure karmic partner who came to hurt you, or came to have a particular
Teach
amount
you a
of
lesson.
time,
Let's
teach you a
just teach
lesson,
you a
or
lesson,
improve
yeah.
you on your soul journey?
There can't be one sutra, but one thing which I've seen, whenever the 7th Lord or the Lord of 7th house gets afflicted by Saturn and Mars.
Saturn and Mars.
And Mars together, right? You are destined to get married and you're destined to part ways.
And we are talking about 7th house Lord, not 7th house.
7th house will create disturbances.
Okay.
I'm talking more about 7th house Lord.
Okay.
Whenever it gets afflicted by Saturn and Mars, you are destined. Even if when 7th house gets afflicted by Saturn and Mars, you will have a difficult marriage. Irrespective of, even if your Mars is a Rajyokarak. Because Rajyokarak, don't mix it up with married life. Rajyokarak gives you money. So don't mix it up. People mix up, "Are ye to hamara Rajyokarak planet hai Shani." No.
It's all about the wealth part.
It's only the Raj that we have made these words. Unfortunately, for profession, we've made a lot of words. For love, marriage, etc., we haven't made so many words. So Saturn and Mars, when they look at your 7th house, difficulty. When they look at your lords, you will get married and you're destined to separate. Second, I've seen is whenever Shani and Rahu, Saturn and Rahu, they similarly look at your 7th Lord, Lord of 7th house, or even Venus. It can create a lot of probability of problems. Jupiter, if it is in 7th house, retrograde, be sure there will be a divorce. Okay. Similarly, Venus, retrograde in 7th house, there will be marriage and divorce. Because retrograde planets are karmic planets.
Yeah.
So whenever Jupiter and Venus, please, anybody who is listening to this podcast should tell me, Venus and Jupiter retrograde in 7th house will create near divorce. 9 out of 10 divorce.
So even if they are the Lord of the 7th house?
Even if they are Lord of the 7th.
But they have to be retrograde for it.
Have to be retrograde. So even if Jupiter exalted is, and looking at 7th house, Jupiter exalted in Lagna, looking at 7th house, Jupiter exalted in 7th house, also will create problems in marriage. Because Jupiter, when it gets exalted, it doesn't understand marriage.
Absolutely.
Be very clear on that.
It gets on very saintly vibe.
It gets on a different, it becomes a Kamal ka phool. So, it's in a different world. So this whole concept that my exalted Jupiter is in the house, if my exalted Jupiter is 7th, my marriage is going to be great. No, you're going to end up in divorce. You're going to get married. After that, you'll understand this person, he's all very different. When he was in love with me, when he's talking to me, I liked his talk because he talks philosophy, he talked about dynamics, he talked about religion, he talked about parents, etc., etc. So you may fall in love with him. Jupiter and Mars together, I've seen so many people fall. But Jupiter exalted, and same with Mars, after marriage, it leads to divorce. Because Jupiter doesn't understand the Mars energy then. Then an exalted Jupiter with Mars doesn't understand marriage. Marriage is also related to 12th house. That is the pleasure of bed. That's also very important. So that is why when we talk about marriage, that is the point which I deflect on. So, Jupiter doesn't understand. Mars says, what's this? So Jupiter, Mars also, people consider it to be a very good combination. But whatever I've seen, be very clear, Jupiter and Mars together will never lead to a happy married life, irrespective wherever it is. So, because intrinsically they are different.
Yeah.
And especially when Jupiter is exalted,
It will
and after that,
definitely.
it will lead to divorce.
And
So you have
sir,
to understand these concepts.
And so, one more thing that I got to know, you have yourself said it, that Jupiter sitting in the 7th house is also not very good. We talked about the exalted Jupiter, but no matter which Rashi Jupiter sits in, if it sits in the 7th house, it's not very good
It
for
creates
marriage.
disturbances in married life. It may sustain your marriage.
Okay.
It may sustain your marriage. You may get married because we have to show to the world. A lot of marriages in India at least, I mean, the Western audience, it may be different if you have a Western audience, but Jupiter in 7th will create disturbances in married life. Because that's not the intrinsic quality of Jupiter.
Makes sense.
So Jupiter should not be overrated that way. Jupiter has a very good, important role in getting a relationship solemnized,
Yeah.
which we call as a marriage. But its role in as a
Sustaining
holder of
the
marriage
union, yeah.
is different, and its role in covering up something negative is different. So the three roles you have to understand of Jupiter. Similarly, of Venus and Mars.
So now that we understood that some people might attract and some people actually do attract karmic partners whom they have to part ways with. Let's say one person got separated from their previous partner, their husband or wife. Now they want to get remarried. So are there any signs of getting married again after
Yes,
getting
of course.
separated? What would be those signs? That you're meant for somebody else now and now you will find your soulmate.
I mean, this whole concept of soulmate is, if you look at the most popular epic of Radha Krishna, and he got married to Rukmani, who was the soulmate, Radha or Rukmani? I would ask you
Radha,
this question.
I think Radha.
Yeah, it was Radha, na? And Radha was elder to him. He didn't marry Radha. So let's keep this whole concept of soulmate and understanding soulmate in astrology is a book I'll write someday.
Sure.
It's a very different book. So soulmate is not your marriage partner. It could be
Very
somebody
important.
whom you love. Okay. So it's a different concept, and very different astrological combinations are required to understand soulmate and twin flames and
Right.
etc. etc.
But I said it, sir, because so many people think that the person whom they feel very comfortable with, that is,
That is they call
technically their soulmate.
soulmate,
And some
yeah.
people actually find that soulmate kind of connection in their husband or wives. So people idealize this idea of soulmate,
Yes.
getting married to their
Yeah,
soulmate.
yeah, that's right. I would call it a very. In fact, it is there. Sometimes your husband does become your soulmate. I mean, it does happen that way, but it is not necessarily that it is that way.
Absolutely. sir.
That's what
Makes
I'm trying to
sense.
say. So shouldn't be misunderstood. So the concept of second marriage is my research and whatever I've studied is second marriage has to be seen from the second house
From the second house of your Lagna chart.
of your Lagna chart.
Okay.
That is the house of your second marriage. That shows this thing. Second thing which you have to see is that in the horoscope of a lady, Mars, and in the horoscope of a man, it is Venus. What is Mars and Venus getting related to? Relationship of Mars and Venus with Mercury. Okay? Now, please understand something, that when we do astrology, and I mean, people do astrology, just see the chart and say which planet is sitting with which. But what is important is which is the planet ahead of it and what is the planet behind it. Like in moon, you say, Krem dum dosh ban gaya. There's a dosh, Krem dum dosh. There is no planet in front of moon, there's no planet. The second of moon or 12th of moon, there's no planet. Because the second planet is your inspiration. You get inspired. The moon is the mind. The planet which is ahead of it, the next to it, in the next house, it gets inspiration from that. And the planet with which where it rests itself, that is the 12th house. Similarly, you have to see, suppose in relationship, in a case, suppose I'm discussing the chart of a lady, and I consider Mars to be the most important planet in seeing. So you have to see what are the planet which is in 12th to Mars and which are the planets which are second to Mars. So if you have Mars and after Mars you have Mercury, then there are very great possibilities that, and if the relationship is going to be in problem, the second marriage will happen. So you have to see it in this way. You have to see planets ahead and planets behind and then make a kind of a understanding of what is going to happen.
So one very important question that people usually these days have, that before getting married to this person, we matched the Kundalis and we had a very good score, the Gun Milan. We had 28 number, we had 27 number. And then we see people who have only 6 to 7 number, but their marriage was so good, and the ones who had 28 or 29 numbers, they are getting separated. Why is it happening?
See, in the traditional system of astrology or in our system, the way, astrology is, and the way we predict is a way of life. So first the way of life was, a lot of thing was given to go through. You're belonging to the same lineage. Nobody has married outside that lineage was there. So first marriage was to keep lineage together, and keep the hereditary system together. Those things were given a lot of importance, yoni, all those, there are a lot of things which are there, which today are not relevant. So this whole fundamental thing in today's world, we talk about 2026, out of those things, a lot of things which are not relevant because not being followed at all. So, and the points are there for them. So, you put your Gotra Kashyap, Yoni, etc., Dev Yoni, all that stuff is there. But the thing is, those things don't get aligned and your points may come high. But what is important is, in the horoscope, you have to see, what I see when anybody comes to me, that look at the Lagna, look at the character of the person. The guy can, be able to procreate, he can create more child, his profession, his nature. Look at his life, longevity, etc. These 7-8 things you should see in a horoscope combined. That is a good horoscope. Then you see the nature of the other person's horoscope in a practical way and see it matches or not. Perfect matches are not possible, but a lot of things, if they get matched, I say it's a good match.
Right. So
if it is a marriage which is like you get attracted and you want to get married, but you just want to, then that is a better way of seeing things rather than going by gunas or even by seeing that Mars in 2nd, 4th, 7th, 8th and 12th. Because that is not relevant today. 2nd house Mars was that a lady cannot go against the family. 4th house Mars is that whatever is said in the house, she has to do it. 7th house Mars, she can't go against her husband. 8th house Mars, she can't go against the family. 12th house Mars is she cannot, her sexuality, she cannot refuse for that. Today, those things are not relevant at all. Accepting Mars for 8th house because it is the 2nd or 7th, and 2nd house is also the longevity of the husband. To some extent, and it's also the house of accidents. So to some extent, 8th house Mars you could see. But what is the relevance in urban India or for the Western world for seeing the Mars in 2nd, 4th, 7th? How does it matter? Today, even in India, things are not family and, your nuclear family. You have to listen to your husband, you have to listen to your domestic, you have to listen for sexuality. Those things don't. So that whole thing you have to change. So astrology and predictive astrology was done depending on the times. Now, if the times have changed, you have to, change the method of prediction also and be according to that. So it is not that astrology has changed.
Right.
Astrology is right, astrology is not changed.
But the Deshkal Patra.
But the things have changed, the environment has changed.
So sir, it's fair to say that individual Kundali has to be strong enough for marriage.
Absolutely.
Like you have to see how the sun is, how the moon is, how Venus is, how Mars is in an individual Kundali, then go for, matching.
Absolutely.
So just to conclude our today's wonderful discussion, and I think it's been a complete masterclass on marriage since we discussed so many scenarios. So many people, even today, they think that Jupiter talks about their husband or marriage, especially in the case of girls. But one very good insight that you gave me off the camera, that Rangoli, you have to see Mars. Mars plays an equal role, or rather more important role, when it comes to marriage in a girl's chart.
Absolutely.
So I want to clear this distinction, like how to actually look for your husband when it comes to a girl's chart. Is it Jupiter? Is it Mars? What do they actually tell, both of them?
Yeah. Mars tells you about the husband.
Okay, the personality
of the husband, profession, his procreation capability, so many things. I mean, if you look at Mars and its aspect with various planets, you will understand that. And Jupiter is, after you get married, what will be the breeze in your house, whether it will be cold, whether it will be warm. You know, iska andar, aapke ghar ke andar, in the house there is a AC, there is a fan, there is. So that is Jupiter.
So the quality
Jupiter
of marriage is
quality
Jupiter.
of the environment. Jupiter is not, doesn't decide, should not be taken to decide the characteristic of your husband, which is a misnomer. Jupiter is the blessing for that particular marriage in a way it is done, and after marriage it is the environment which which a person will have, you know, in terms of, you know, when you live together. You have so many couples, so many young people who say that we stay in two different rooms. I mean, I come at late, he comes late. In the weekend only, you know, we go together. Otherwise, we have different lives. You know, everywhere. Or long distance, it is there. Everything is there. So, you know, that is Jupiter. But the fact that they're staying together, they have a relationship together, they're also having, that is not Jupiter. That is Mars and Venus.
So I'm sure, sir, that, you know, the intention with which I started this podcast, that whoever is getting married, they should watch this podcast, and whoever is married, they should definitely watch this podcast, because we covered so many segments when it comes to marriage. And I highly believe, sir, that so many people believe in astrology because they want to know what kind of person will I get married to, how will be my marriage. And it's fair also because, you know, your partner plays a very important role in your life.
And we've only touched at things, of course, understanding relationships, etc. is very complicated. You have to see marriage, you have to see the horoscope in its totality. I mean, we can't, I've written a whole book on marriage. So, you know, you can write, there's so much to predict into it. We have touched on issues, I've touched some sutras, tried to explain things, but to get deep into it, you have to show a chart.
Definitely, sir. And I'm sure that so many people would relate to it. So I'm so grateful that you joined us today and helped me understand the marriage, the whole concept of marriage better.
Thanks for having me with you. Thank you.
So you tell me in the comment section, how did you like today's podcast? What kind of marriage do you feel you have? Do you feel that soulmate kind of connection with your partner, or do you feel that karmic connection? Do let me know which planet rules your 7th house, what's sitting in your 7th house, what's aspecting your 7th house. And I'm sure that this podcast might have helped you to understand your marriage better. Do let me know in the coming podcast which more topics should I cover with our guest, and do let me know what queries do you have out of today's podcast, and we will definitely get back to you and answer all your queries. This is your host Rangoli Sharma. I'll keep bringing you such insightful discussions. Do let me know from which part of the world you're watching this discussion. Namaste.